wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, and if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine.
Welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday. Welcome, everybody. It is Friday Junior, folks. Weekend is basically here. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate everyone being here. We've got a short stream today before I get on out of here. There is a really bad winter storm that's happening this weekend here. I'm actually not convinced I can hear myself. Anyways, there's a bad winter storm that's heading here this weekend, and today's basically the last day to get some last second preparations, and yeah, I'm gonna take advantage of that. So we'll just mosey on by and get through this stuff. Michael Hasser, welcome. Nadia, welcome. I hope everyone's doing okay. The word Stemkala is suspected with much uncertainty to derive from Skrelling, Old Norse term for indigenous of Greenland, whose meaning and etymology are even most uncertain than the West Greenlandic word. Or so said Jackson Crawford, or whatever the guy's name, on who does YouTube videos about Old Norse stuff all the time. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I believe there are two more indigenous peoples or nations in Greenland, but their language are significantly harder to find material about than West Greenlandic, and they don't have Google Translate for them either. Appreciate that, Michael Hasser. Folks, before we get started, if you want to support the channel, there are many different ways of doing so. Please check out the link. And wait, is there even a YouTube stream? Is there even a YouTube stream? Hello. Oh, there is a YouTube stream. Look at that. BCat, Quaximus, John Lithium, Hermit Horologist, Tropical Ding Dong. Welcome. I just can't see anybody. Let me refresh this. Hold on. I just can't see the joined chat. That's why I couldn't see anybody. Yeah, the chats aren't being merged. That is a restream problem. That is a restream problem. It's not it's not working. Well, nevertheless, we'll still soldier on. I can still see the YouTube chats over here, so it's fine. Yeah, we'll do it live. You're on YouTube. Is it embarrassing that I like Don Lemon? I think he's still a bit of a shitlib, but I still like him. Yeah, I mean, he's not the worst, I suppose. We're gonna be talking about that whole shenanigans, soon. Segregating the chats next time. Bro, you're gonna try to bring back busing next. No, the only busing I want is the bus to unite the Twitch and YouTube chats. Does anyone know if Twitch uses more battery than YouTube? I have 5% left. That's a good question. I mean, at the end of the day, they're both websites, right? I can't imagine that one is more significant than the other. Yeah. Oh well, I mean, it is what it is. I can't really fix that. It's a restream problem. What I find funny is that on the website I can see it. It shows me that everything is live. But whatever, it's fine. It's fine. Alright folks, thank you all for being here. If you want to support the channel, check out the links, do all the things. Folks, we are trying to get as many subscribers as possible on this space. So please check out the link. Also, if you're watching in the YouTube and you don't happen to catch the stream live, that's okay. This space link is going to be there too. We are trying to get as many people on board as possible. So if you want to support what I do and many other leftist creators want to do and doing, please check out this space. I do my show every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And lately we're gonna be trying to launch a news day on Mondays. So stay tuned, folks. Lots of cool stuff happening. So definitely that's something you want to keep an eye on. OP Man Bros, welcome. I think the West Greenlandic pronunciation does the double L's like Icelandic, but there's no speech synthesis for it in Google Translate to check pronunciation with. You know, it's kind of like one of my favorites, uses for Google, if there was any, besides looking up information. I like the fact that they teach you how to pronounce things, more or less, depending on the language. Lemon is on live now and talking about his case. Is he talking on YouTube? Oh, he's on Twitch too? What? Yeah, he's live right now.
Face a case that would allow for the probable cause necessary in order to effect an arrest. And so the judge essentially said that however this pleading was constructed, whether it was substantively in terms of the actual facts that were alleged as part of the pleading, or whether it was procedurally in terms of the actual construction legally of the pleading, it was insufficient for that judge to sign. Now, here's the reason why that's significant for you, Don, and as for the rest of the audience. That judge, more likely than not, is still going to be on duty in that same part tomorrow.
Don Lemon is like a journalist who used to work for CNN, who was being persecuted by this administration with that incident that protesters showed up to a church.
At an uphill battle, because now you have to structurally provide something that is markedly different.
Getting ads.
With a modicum of experience, you put your best stuff in this first pleading. And if it didn't get past the magistrate judge the first time around, it seems very difficult to imagine a world where they are going to be able to substantively keep
all his new
many of the
followers
charges
are bots.
the same and continue to move
Beep,
forward
boop,
with a
beep,
different
boop, beep,
magistrate
boop.
judge, because at this point it's been front page news. Everybody knows that you tried to do it this way and it didn't work. So the question immediately becomes, what facts or what charges are you going to allege differently in some renewed attempt to try to move forward with an arrest that you didn't the first time? It's very difficult. It's not, it's not impossible, but substantively, this is a significant blow to any sort of arrest or attempt to try and prosecute a case against you. So that is something procedurally that needs to be understood.
Monique.
No, I agree with Charles. I think there are.
So just to be clear, it's what they're discussing is Don Lemon's persecution. Regarding this here, we'll talk a little bit more about this. Really quickly, this was just sent to me a bit a while ago. I started boycotting TV and MSM as a whole because of CNN's 91 Iraq war coverage with the missile nose cone cameras. Well played. Yep. In 1991, I also never stopped boycotting at all. Nice. Honestly, nice. Trump administration completes the U.S. split from the World Health Organization. This was just put here. I genuinely don't know what the legality is for us to be able to split from the World Health Organization. I mean, I don't know how that even is. This is a silly thing to do for a multitude of reasons. This is just more of that anti-vax stuff that has permeated through the right wing. This is a result of that. This is no doubt RFK Jr. and his crew. This is their doing. No doubt about it. This is pretty bad. This is pretty bad because it is important to support organizations like this to protect public health, to coordinate a pandemic response, to share research, all of this, and this further isolates the country. Well played, Mr. President. Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. God help us.
Come join us 1 p.m. here. We'll be burning Qurans, standing up against the Somali invasion.
So first of all, that's super racist. Also, how come is burning the Bible okay? So if I want to stand and burn a Bible in front of like Christians, is that okay? Or is it the only brown people religion? The bad brown people religion. Is that the one? I'm just curious.
Of Minneapolis, the immediate deportation of Ilhan Omar, and the arrest of the scammer Tim Walz.
The arrest. So just to be clear, Ilhan Omar's a citizen. Okay. The country that she would be deported to is the United States of America, as she is a congresswoman. Oh my god, and he's being treated by a person of color. That's fantastic. The very same that he was just berating. The very same that he was just being racist against. It almost seems like something out of like a comic book, but it isn't. Sevens Ladybug, welcome. Sorry folks, if for the people on YouTube, I'm gonna try to see if I can pay attention, because I've got two chats and they're not merging. I blame Restream and the bot not wanting to work. So it is what it is. I'm gonna start trying to pay attention to both folks. So periodically, I'll switch back and forth. I'd like not to call him comrade yet, but mostly assured if he wants to stand shoulder to shoulder against Ice Vermin, I'll be there. Yep. I mean, that's that works for me. By the way, this is the appropriate response to every time a fascist shows up to your neighborhood. Just to be clear. This is a pretty valid this is a pretty valid and normal response to when fascists decide to invade
You just
your
got a
neighborhood.
small taste of the shit show that ensued in Minneapolis after self-avowed Nazi influencer Jake Lang tried to hold an anti-immigrant pro-ICE rally at City Hall. I guess that he's one of the remaining Nazis who hasn't joined ICE yet. Nevertheless, he's been there on the streets consistently to show support for the modern-day Gestapo. The week before, him and his entourage showed up blasting Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice in order to show support to the ICE Gestapo. And as they played that song, they called for ICE to go door to door to hunt down immigrants everywhere. So he's been pretty visible at anti-ICE protests in Minneapolis the past couple of weeks to antagonize protesters specifically. And if you're not familiar with Jake Long, you probably know his buddy, because last week, or the week before that actually, he went viral after Renee Good was executed because he said the following.
And all you liberal commie motherfuckers, keep your hands to yourself or you're gonna get hurt today, alright? We executed one of you yesterday.
So to be clear,
Yeah, so if anyone had any doubts, like, you can't simultaneously say that, like, oh, it was a justified, you know, self-defense murder, right, or self-defense homicide or whatever, and then also be gloating about it and say we just killed one of you, right? Like, you can't. This is how, like, you know that this is all bull, right? The veneer is out. There's no mask, okay? Whatever thin veneer that these people were pretending to wear is not there, right? Like, they're literally saying, like, yeah, we know that this was a murder, and that's good, okay? Just to be clear, you dirty commie liberal socialist whatever, insert whatever and however many buzzwords you want. We know it was murder. We admit it was murder. And that's the good thing. And that's a good thing.
we're dealing with individuals who are explicitly in favor of violence.
Yep.
And it's not just that they want the ICE Gestapo to do violence on their behalf. They want to do violence themselves. But don't take it from me. Let's hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
Honestly, if I catch a Muslim that's coming at me and
just to be clear, this is just like average right-wing behavior at this point. This is indistinguishable. Like, there's no quarter with these people, okay? There's no charity to be had with these people. This is who they are, okay? This is who they are. Just hateful, racist, bigoted, xenophobic people who peaked in high school and who want to pick on marginalized people because they are weak little boys.
blow his head off outside my home and I get it on video, be the most viral video of all time. Jake Lang blows the head off of a Muslim trying to jihad him. Watch it in slow motion 4K.
And just to be clear, like, what he's saying, what he's fantasizing about is just literally just like killing someone who's Muslim for the sake of them being Muslim, okay? That's literally what he's fantasizing about. Yeah, they're definitely far worse people than Don Lemon, that's for sure. Right-wingers don't believe in international institutions. True, doing things that scare everyone out of the UN, NATO, and other international institutions is the same kind of institutional sabotage you want to do. Example, use a government agency they have vendettas against, like putting RFK Jr. at the head of HHS. No, this is great analysis, I agree. Of HHS or whatever. Yeah, 100%.
From a Ring doorbell. Pretty cool. So, you know, I mean, hey.
Don't threaten you with a good time.
Don't threaten you with a good time, yeah. You know, if I get...
And this is on video, by the way. Like, he's gloating about it while being recorded. So, absolutely, like, these people feel like they can just say this kind of stuff. They can just say this kind of stuff in public. And feel no consequences at all. Anthony Bishop, welcome. The new Philip DeFranco episode is crazy, highly upsetting. It's a must-watch, FYI. Yeah, definitely got to put that one on the list.
Opportunity to...
Occasionally, I get some Philip DeFranco stuff. Mostly, like, those are mostly like shorts that get fed to me. It's been a minute since I've seen them.
To slay one of these disgusting animals is trying to threaten me and my country and my family. You know, don't threaten me with a good time, right? I mean,
yeah, so he's just basically referring to Muslim people as animals who need to be killed.
Yeah, so if it wasn't already obvious enough, this man is a Nazi. And if you think that that's too hyperbolic, here's a picture of him doing the Nazi salute. And no, he's not waving. He's not telling people that his heart goes out to them. He is literally Sig Heiling. And if the photo isn't convincing you, well, then maybe the video will do the trick.
if you're whatever a Nazi isn't, then I'm a Nazi, bitch.
Shut the fuck.
So I just want to...
Yeah. Yep. There you go. Example, the Greenland invasion threat may well be a calculated less than earnest statement of intention in order to destroy NATO, etc. Honestly, you know what? I've been thinking about that, and I've got a theory, although it's not really... It's a theory, it's a work in progress, okay? I'll talk about it after this. Who is Philip DeFranco? He's kind of like a liberal YouTuber, news guy. Who recently, or well, maybe not recently, but has become very antagonistic to the Trump administration. Constantly criticizes the Trump administration. So yeah, Godspeed.
Stress that this was a Nazi rally organized by violent Nazis who pose a direct threat to marginalized people in the community. And showing up to counter-protest open Nazism isn't just morally justified. I'd argue that it is a necessity.
Yep, it's a necessity. It's required. Showing up, because just to be clear, like these Nazis are just bullies, okay? That's what they are. They're weak little men. And in order, all you have to do is confront them. Okay? All you have to do is confront them. And anytime these Nazis show up, we've got to show up too.
So that way other potentially dangerous Nazis get the message that they're also not welcome in the community. And I'm not overestimating the threat that this individual poses, because Jake was actually charged with assaulting an officer with a baseball bat, and he was one of the January 6th insurrectionists to receive clemency from President Neckpussy. So people in the community, they were right to be worried about the threat that he posed, and they took that threat seriously, rightfully so. And unfortunately for him, he found out the hard way that all of the support that he sees online for Nazism isn't actually reflective of reality, because real people still don't fuck with Nazis. Local ABC News affiliate KJCT reports only a small number of people showed up for Lang's demonstration, while hundreds of
Nazis, by the way. Again, I have to re-emphasize that this is the exact response to Nazis. No notes, 10 out of 10. Good job.
Counter-protesters converged at the site, yelling over his attempts to speak and chasing the pro-ICE group away. They forced at least one person to take...
Well, at least, hey, listen to the YouTube, okay? YouTube chat, okay? This time, you're not going to have a bot to compete with, okay? Today is a special day, okay, to YouTube chat. Okay, today is a special day. You don't have to compete. You don't have to compete with the bot today. Restream bot. I get what you're saying, Anthony Bishop. It's not even like it's not even about like being violent. Like, you just confront these people. You just have to confront these people. That's what you have to do. You have to show up and confront these people. Off-road colonists, welcome. I can't believe conservatives are defending this shit. It's like they have no bottom. Yeah. Yeah, it's because they don't. It's because they don't. Like, any time that you think that, like, they can't go any lower, they can. Bot free. Weren't these the same people who said masks at Walmart was authoritarian communism? Yep. What they did now is crazy. You'll understand when you see it. Okay, I'll check. Is it like the latest Philip DeFranco video? Because I'm going to have to check it out later. I miss the bot. It feels lonely in here. It does feel lonely without the Twitch chatters. I know. But if it makes you feel better, I am still watching YouTube chat, okay? I am still paying attention to you folks. Okay, it's just today's just been like a rough Restream bot is just not here today. Okay, maybe Restream bot took the day off. Okay, I don't blame it. I don't blame it. I wanted to take the day off too. Okay, but here we are. Can I look at? You can send it to me via Whisper so I can check it out later. Like, feel free to whisper it to me. I don't mind that. Or DM me or whatever it's called. Finally, the bot won't steal our crown. Yeah, now you guys can really compete for top chat. Not that it matters, folks. You're all top chat to me.
Take off a shirt that they deemed objectionable. Lang appeared to be injured as he left the scene, with bruises and scrapes on his head. In Minneapolis, snowballs and water balloons were also thrown.
True. The New York Times also didn't the New York Times also like hide the fact about something? I forget what they did. But yeah. The stuff that's happening in Minneapolis is pretty bad. I'm definitely gonna have to take a look at this later. Yeah, the stuff that's happening in Minneapolis is really bad. Like, we've been covering some of it. We've been covering some of it to the point where to as much as the point we can. But yeah. The real name of the axis to demonstrate the lie of liberal anti-communism to basically downplay the Holocaust. Yes, okay, that's what it was. Yeah, I know the New York Times did some really bad stuff.
Police van and heavily equipped city police arrived. We're out here to show Nazis and ICE and DHS and MAGA you are not welcome in Minneapolis, protester Luke Remington said. Quote, stay out of our city, stay out of our state, go home. So suffice to say, I think that the message was received loud and clear. And it did look like he ended up getting stitches for a gash on the back of his head.
Oh, no.
And I don't know if that was because somebody hit him or because he fell. More on him falling later. But at the end of the day, I do think that his ego was probably injured the most because...
Poor baby.
To say that counter-protesters merely chased him away, it doesn't paint a big enough picture of what actually happened. This man was completely and utterly humiliated and emasculated while he was being chased off by protesters. And I just have to show you the footage because just explaining what happened doesn't do it justice.
I live for this. A Republican insider said they are going to turn blue cities into American Gazas. I mean, they're invading blue cities and they're going door to door. Minneapolis is like the ground zero, right? They're literally trying to go door to door. They're ripping elderly people, American citizens, elderly people out of their homes. I heard in another in Maine, it looks like it looks like a war zone where people are scared, shops are closed, people are hiding. I wish I was kidding, but no. We'll talk about it. Yeah, kids too. Literally 5-year-olds. One guy got snatched up for having an accent, and the ICE agent had an accent. Yep. And it's on that episode, detaining kids crying. Yep. The 5-year-old that was detained was sent to Texas, by the way, with his father. Texas. They literally arrested a 5-year-old, okay, and sent him to Texas. Like, it's so disgusting. The conversation was long enough ago that I don't remember precisely how it was implied that there'd be airstrikes or whatever. I don't know how bad that's gonna end up being, but I mean, you don't need airstrikes when you got the Gestapo knocking down doors, right? Taking away all the others, all the degenerates. They're already killing people. They've already got the green light to just kill people. So I mean, yeah, it should anger you. NYC has a lot of Latinos hiding their kids from schools, and now they're under investigation for not sending their kids to schools. It's nauseating. Jesus. Absolute clown. Michael Richards, welcome. Black man got langed to safety into a transgender car. We took him to the hospital and treated by a Muslim nurse. I did see the picture of the nurse.
Fucking brutal.
And that shows that, like, the real divide, right? Can you opt the bot out of the crown stuff? I don't know how I would be able to do that, to be honest. Inject it into my veins. Oh, you can in settings? Chat settings? Oh, you got me. I'm gonna have to take a look. I can do a poll in YouTube chat? Oh, I can start a Q&A on YouTube chat? That's wild. Anyways, I'm messing around too much here. But yeah, I gotta figure out how to do that.
So he showed up, puffing out his chest, talking tough, calling for violence against immigrants, only to be humbled in the most humiliating way imaginable for all of the world to see, mind you. Not just that crowd that was there, all of us online are now watching too. And before he was chased off, he tried to give a speech, but he barely got a word in edgewise because he was being heckled so loudly, nonstop, while people were throwing water at him. And if that wasn't bad enough already, a literal comedian showed up to make fun of him at the same time.
I'm with the incel, Nick, Jeremy Lang. What's your body count, man?
Jake Lang.
What's Jeremy, though?
I mean, Nick Fuentes, whatever, same thing. It is nauseating. Like, what are we becoming? Oh, becoming? No, this is just who we are. This is just who we are. And if we don't like that, maybe we should do something about it as a whole. My suspicion is that if and when they encounter armed resistance, that they're getting, when they're most likely calling airstrikes and getting into any sort of OK Corral firefights. The day there's a video circulating of an ICE agent getting Charlie Kirk, get ready for civil collapse. Yep. I mean, probably. I don't know. I don't know how bad things are going to get. I'm going to be honest. Yeah, 16 and 19.
It's Jeremy. What's it like being a virgin? When was the last time you legally touched a vagina? Nick, Jake Lang is...
I am with Camp Walter.
Never legally touched a vagina?
Do not touch. Do not touch.
When was the last time you've legally touched a vagina, Jake?
Do not touch.
So Jake, I've been talking to ICE officers trying to explain where the clitoris is.
God bless you.
So do you need help finding the clitoris? Jake
Bro,
Lang,
I've got no
where's
idea.
the clitoris? People want to know.
Yeah. Lucky for him, he does.
Shout out to you at the Polymarket Studios. Yeah, looks like the Polymarket checks haven't cleared yet. The poly market checks haven't cleared yet because we're having some technical issues. I'm not usually one for conspiracies, but there's a lady on TikTok that connected ICE centers and Neuralink centers detainees suffering from symptoms that could be neural and disappearing for weeks during transport. I mean, we know that they're definitely being tortured, and the conditions there is not great. Not great. I'm live from communist Greenland. Welcome, Bruno.
Doesn't need to know because he's never going to get that close to a woman in the first place, ever. Not that there's anything wrong with being a virgin. It's just important that we remind Nazis like him that he will be perpetually lonely for the rest of his life, and if he had any sense, he'd do the world a favor and kill himself. But the irony is that this white supremacist piece of shit might have actually gotten his ass beaten if it wasn't for minorities that he hates so much stepping in to save his ass.
Yep,
I say that because this black man intervened to get the crowd.
This is exactly what Michael Richards was talking about.
To back off, and then escorted him to safety, at least the best that he could, seeing as how the force of gravity was also there counter-protesting as well. But once he was far enough away from the crowd, he then jumped into a random vehicle with two women and begged them to drive away. But unbeknownst to him, that car belonged to a woman of color and her trans friend, who also happened to be an immigrant. And later on, when he got to the hospital, he was tended to by a black woman who happened to be wearing a hijab. Now, as a self-proclaimed Christian, LOL, you would think that he would interpret their kindness as some sort of a sign that God was maybe trying to teach him something. And he talks about that kerfuffle as if his life was genuinely in danger. And
yeah, see, that's not the point though. Like, that's not what these people are about. Like, just to be clear, like, they never talk about like the parts in the Bible about like love thy neighbor and whatever. None of that. That's not what they're interested in, because at the end of the day, it's just religion for them is a tool of oppression. That's what it is. It's not about what the Bible says or doesn't say, or what Christ says or what he didn't say, what God says or what God says or didn't say. None of that really matters. For these people, the Bible, Christianity, organized religion, whatever, all it is a tool. Because if it wasn't Christianity, I guarantee you that they would be using something else. I don't remember enough detail to say if the source elaborated about when or how they'll use ordnance. Focus on emphasis of how the conversation is mostly about my survival might be possible. I mean, you pieced out, so that's good for you. You got nothing to worry about.
He even referred to it as a lynching, which is
less things to worry about.
Extremely fucking melodramatic. But if he really felt like his life was in danger, which is doubtful, but if he felt that way, you would think that he'd have a new perspective on life, seeing as how, by his own estimation, people of color literally saved his life. But that's not the case, because he was doubling down on the Nazi bullshit the very next day on Alex Jones's show, despite people of color intervening to help him.
We are under attack. Our way of life is being absolute.
What way of life, bro? To be a piece of garbage? Is that it? Just personally, Christians capable of learning don't stay Christian very long. They just need a little bit of time to connect the dots, much like I did when I deconstructed. My theory is that they're incels to the point that they're actually gay. I mean, some are, for sure, some are. Yeah, the way of life, white mediocrity. Wonder Bread culture. Hey, listen, don't hate on the Wonder Bread. Okay, I'm a big fan. Big fan. Okay. Jake Lang is a loser in life, probably never had a stable job. True.
Destroyed. We are being replaced in our homelands. And now if we go out and even mention our displeasure with our displacement, crap.
What displacement? What are you talking about? Fascists always showing themselves as victims. Yep. What are you talking about? Displacement? Is he homeless? Is he? I'm confused here. No, I'm just kidding. This is just Nazi propaganda. This is literally just Nazi propaganda, a great replacement nonsense. Forcing everyone to be just pale skin as he is around him is so pointless. Agreed. All you gotta do is follow the money. Like, how is he getting paid? And I mean, no, this guy is a real Nazi. Like, he does it for the love of the game.
Crowds of self-hating
He's an
white
actual
people and
Nazi.
illegal immigrants will attack you for being white or Christian. Let's talk about what was wrong with yesterday. Let's talk about the two main things that were wrong with yesterday. The Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, the 3%ers, the Boogaloo Boys, the
I
American
love how they think their way of life is aspirational.
patriots watched a white Christian conservative get lynched, and nobody was there to stand up for me.
Well, the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and the 3%ers are all in ICE now, and they're out terrorizing immigrants like you want them to, so they're a little bit preoccupied. But he's claiming nobody was there to stand up for him. I guess that the black man that was escorting him away was invisible. Maybe he didn't notice. I'm not really sure. But I mean, he intervened to help him, and then he says nobody
That
helped.
form of rhetoric is trying to put on airs of indignity. Yep, indigeneity. Yep. Nazis also have to eat. Who pays him? No, I mean, there's enough right. The right wing is filled with so much money that like all you have to do is just like grift and toe the line. Okay, like that's it. Just it doesn't matter. Like you could be Nick Fuentes or you can be Megyn Kelly, or anything in between. The right wing is full of money. So that's not really a problem. It's AstroTurf to all hell.
Because he wanted a white man to help him, right? The black man who intervened on his behalf doesn't count because he doesn't see that man as an equal human being. In fact, when they found out that the trans woman who helped him was also an immigrant, take a guess what the right's reaction online was. They were calling for her to be deported as well, and she wasn't the hero of his story.
Yep. Being the victim justifies any atrocity in self-defense. Fascism 101. Yep. Look what they took from you, white man. Look what they took from you, white man.
But just because Jake and his ilk are too stupid to learn from this experience doesn't mean that we should be equally dense. The lesson for the rest of us is that you're not going to cleanse their souls of hate by showing them kindness. No matter how hard you try, no matter how nice you are to them, even if you come to their defense, fascists will never ever view marginalized people as equal because they fundamentally don't view them as human beings. These people can't be reasoned with. Make of that what you will. And I do feel bad for the trans woman and her friend who's getting some criticism from fascists as well as everybody else who's accusing them of collaborating with fascists because...
Yeah, I agree. Literally entire industries are legit jobs, at least for politically uncritical, apathetic would just accept as Imagine It Fast exists only because of plutocrat money and interests. Yep. A general strike has already been called in Minneapolis. I hope that works. It's happening tomorrow, isn't it?
That's not actually the case. They were just at the wrong place at the wrong time, and they didn't know who he was. But I want to share the video that they released because they clarified what happened, because they wanted to make it clear that they don't support ICE or what ICE is doing, and they don't support fascists. But here's what they say happened.
We see him run up to our car and he's like, can I please get in?
Freedom of speech is real, but there are limits. You cannot incite riots. Yeah, I mean, like, but these people, like, this isn't a free speech issue, right? Like, the problem here is, tomorrow, yes, January 23rd, that's right. The problem is that these people don't fundamentally believe in free speech, right? Like, people like Nazis and like this guy, Jake Lang, don't believe in free speech, so they don't like. It's the paradox of intolerance, right? You can't allow someone, you can't allow a group of people who are hell bent on oppressing people to do that. That is anti-free speech. It's tomorrow, and 5 unions are striking. Nice. They don't believe in equality before the law either. Yep. Right-wingers get random Patreon, etc., pigs, whales, whatever, doing 10K a month donations just for spewing their right-wing slop. Yep.
Please get in, like, they hurt me so bad, da-da-da-da. That's all the context we have. So in our heads, it's like, oh my God, like, was he just attacked by ICE? Like,
We
he was
thought
in the
ICE was
protest?
after him, so we're like, okay, whatever, like, hop in the freaking car real quick. And then all of a sudden, there's a whole bunch of people coming here and storming us and, like, beating up the car, ruining the car, pulling this dude out. Like, what is
like,
going on?
surrounding the car from every single angle.
That's wild. It shouldn't be just tomorrow, to the point it should be unlimited during duration until ICE leaves. Yeah, no, I'm saying it starts tomorrow. That's all. And Michael Hassler just added more context that there's 5 unions that are going to be striking as well.
And yeah, we had no idea what we was getting ourselves into. It's just like, we saw an injured man, so like, obviously we're gonna help because we're not bad people. What? And I don't know him.
So we literally just go around the block, and I'm like, you know what? Like, you need to get out.
Yeah, we're still in
Like,
the same
what
spot.
is going on? Like, whose side are you on right now? Because, like, this is not okay. And I'm just getting super weird
I should sue him for the car damages. Probably an even solid case.
bad
Yeah.
vibe from this dude, and he's just like,
Hella.
oh, Trump something me, I gotta owe him back. And I'm just like,
Yeah, he was
I
like,
don't care
"Trump
what
saved
Trump
me."
did for you. Like, ICE is fucking shit.
As
like,
fuck.
who are you?
Yep. He brought the nuisance on them. He put them in jeopardy. I agree. He's the entire reason the mom was whipped into a frenzy. Yep.
Like, who are you? And then I find out who he is. I'm like, I don't care if your Uber's here. You're not gonna wait in my fucking car. You need to get out right now.
As fuck.
Now, if the roles were reversed and Jake Lang saw 2 women who look like them run up to his car and beg him for help, do you think that he would do the same for them?
Nope.
Of course not. If he
Nope.
saw a violent mob of white Klansmen cornering that black man and he recognized him as the man who helped him, do you think that he would return the favor? Do you think he would intervene?
No. He is the Klans people in the mob in that analogy. Like he would be the Klansman in the mob in that analogy.
That man's behalf? No. The only way he would intervene is to join the white supremacist mob.
Yep.
See, because you can't defeat the threat of Nazism with a heart-to-heart or a hug. Everyone knows the only way to defeat Nazism is to vote, of course. That's a joke, obviously. You know, it'd probably take too long for me to explain how to do
It took me a second, honestly. Look. It took me a second. Like, I was like, I would have refused to help him. It has nothing to do with me. But like, see, that goes to show that is a character. That is a verdict on their character, because the 2 ladies, they were willing to help him. They didn't know. They didn't care. Hey, look, the chat's back. Hey, look, the chat decided to emerge on its own. By the way, I did not do any of that at all. But welcome, everybody. Look at that. We've got a functioning chat. Who let the chat back?
pacify the country. So I'm just going to go ahead and beam some additional, very nuanced thoughts into your brain about some other ways to address the Nazi threat that we're currently facing. But on a serious note, I do find it encouraging that another Nazi rally turned into a complete fucking shit show yet again. I mean, with everything going on in the country, I'm sure he felt like it was probably safe to come out of the closet, but that's not ever going to be the case, most likely. At least, I don't think that's going to be the case, because even other Nazis have enough brain cells to recognize that you can't really do that. Hence why almost all of them have probably already joined ICE, because they understand that if they really want to LARP as Third Reich brown shirts, it's easier to live out that fantasy under the veil of the state's legitimacy and with the protection of state power. Regardless, if Nazis do want to fuck around and find out, I'm going to get some popcorn and watch.
Yeah. Beta. Amazing. Oh god, I haven't heard that guy in so long. That guy used to frustrate me. Heat, how's it going? Yeah, Twitch truthers or whatever we're called. Certainly what passed for a, quote, welfare state in the US existed for a vanishingly short period of time in historical terms. Yeah, it was basically like a blink. It's like that South Park meme, and it's gone. I don't believe their claims to believe that are in earnest. It's just a problem to pacify people. Before the rapid degeneration to its nearly non-existent for all functional purposes present state, like $34 for food stamps. Yep. That's not nothing technically and literally, but like, I mean, come on. Yeah, it's basically nothing. Like, what can you get for $34 at the grocery store? I mean, like, maybe some like milk and eggs and like a couple things at most. But if you're trying to feed like a family, like that's literally a slap in the face. Hans, welcome. I totally forgot about him. Amazing! Their aim is what humanity won from the French Revolution. Power to the people. They want the kings back, and that's simple. Yep. But like, it's an amount of circumstances. Food prices versus income recipients consider as practically an insult added to injury. It's like throwing pennies at a literal starving person, and then you hardly backslap yourself. Like, yeah, we did a good thing. Technically, they got something. Yep. Let's check in with our charismatic vice president. JD Vance, tell us what's going on, please. I spent half that today. Pork chops, crackers, and 2 sandwiches, and a 6-pack of Sprite. And that's like barely food for like the week. That's like a couple days worth of food. And that's what you get for a month? That's like wild.
Specific types of cooperation that we need. Look, I don't need Tim Walz or Jacob Frey or anybody else to come out and say that they agree with JD Vance or Donald Trump on immigration. I just don't need that. What I do need them to do is empower their local officials to help our federal officials out in a way where this can be a little bit less chaotic and it can be a little bit more targeted. Like, if we're trying to find a sex offender, tell us where the guy lives. Specific types of cooperation.
Do y'all want to take this one, or should I? Tell us where the sex offenders live. Mar-a-Lago? 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue? I suspect that that's not by most biological measures sufficient nutrition relief for most humans for like more than days. At the White House. Hey, Anna. Hey, JD, if you want to go after sex offenders, look at DC maybe. Yep. $34 a month is basically a couple of plastic wrap packets of ramen a day. Yeah, almost. Like, if you had to extend that to a month, like, you'd basically be eating like $1 like ramen a day, essentially. If you needed to extend that to a month, that's nothing. Bella, welcome. Thanks, JD. Appreciate the check-in. This guy always comes out when he needs to make a clown of an ass out of himself. Who likes Polymarket here? That's my big sponsor. That's my sponsor. Yeah, flour and water biscuits. More PDF pins and the Not Like Us cover art. lowercase w. So this is good news. Before we get into the news, bad news. Too bad it was just banned in Portugal. Yeah, you can't eat like that. Sevens. You can't eat like that at all. Not at all. FBI can't examine devices it took from Washington Post reporter for now, the judge rules. As we talked about earlier in past streams, the FBI is targeting this Washington Post reporter and attempting to get access because of some leak that happened. A federal judge has barred the FBI from examining the electronic devices the agent seized last week from the Virginia home of Washington Post reporter until he can review the controversial case. The government must preserve but must not review any of the materials that law enforcement seized pursuant to the search warrants the court issued, said U.S. Magistrate Judge William B. Porter in a 2-page ruling filed Wednesday in federal district court for the Eastern District of Virginia. Porter was responding to a motion filed earlier by the Post and its reporters, Hannah Nathanson, requesting the FBI turn her cell phone in, as well as her work, personal laptops, a recorder, a portable hard drive, and a Garmin smartwatch. I've got one of those. Too bad nutritious ramen costs like $50 per package. Oof. Nope, you get the cheap stuff. Kirkenstein's monster, welcome. The U.S. government likes to protect pedos. Yep, true. I think there's a countdown on how long it would take someone to die from empty calories with 0 micronutrients, but I don't have any estimates on that time. I can't imagine it's very long. I can't imagine it's very long. And the time that you do manage to be alive will be miserable. The only way to afford to live on U.S. benefits is to leave the country. True. Both the newspaper and Nathanson had demonstrated good cause in their filings to maintain the status quo until such time as the government can respond to the motions and the court can more fully address them, Porter wrote. Porter's ordered the government to respond to newspapers' filings by January 28th and scheduled a hearing early next month. The outrageous seizure of the reporter's confidential news gathering materials is chill speech, cripples reporting, and inflicts irreparable harm on everyday government. On every day the government keeps its hand on these materials, the Post said in a statement. It is the first time in U.S. history. I keep hearing this, and it's frustrating every time because it seems like this is the new trend. The first time in U.S. history that the government has searched a reporter's home in a national security media leak investigation, seizing potentially a vast amount of confidential data and information. Bruce D. Brown, president of the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press, said in a statement, "The move imperils public interest reporting and will have ramifications far beyond this specific case. It is critical that the court blocks the government from searching through the material until it can address the profound threat to the First Amendment posed by the raid." Indeed. The Justice Department did not immediately respond to a request for comment on Wednesday. Nathanson was home on January 14th when the FBI searched her house as part of the investigation into a government contractor accused of illegally retaining classified materials. So we'll be keeping track of this. This is not the only case about the government trying to chill free speech, and a new one in Maine is arriving. B-Cat, Sarah's Hermit, Heat, Bella, man, you're gonna make me name off everyone? No, that's my job. That's me. Pam Bondi announces arrest connected to the anti-ICE protests at the St. Paul Church. This is the exact appropriate framing of this incident. This is the appropriate framing of the incident. Straight up lemon party up in the Don Lemon chat. Jesus, you're aging yourself a little bit there. Federal authorities have arrested 3 people connected to the anti-immigration enforcement protests that disrupted a church service on Sunday in St. Paul. Good. This is important. This is important because this is exactly what we were talking about the other day. I think it was I think it was either on this space or on Monday. This is not, despite what the Attorney General is saying. Despite what the Attorney General is saying, this is not about attacking Christians, okay? This is not about attacking Christians. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi announced on Thursday morning that U.S. Immigration and Customs and FBI agents arrested Nakima Levy Armstrong, a civil rights attorney who helped organize the protest. Minutes later, Bondi announced Chantel Louisa Allen was also arrested. She's listed as the clerk of the St. Paul Board of Education. And here is the tweet, or the tweet. I had it here, but the article does put it here, folks. This was brought to my attention by Matt from the Letter Hack, and I reposted it. And please, folks, if you have Blue Sky, follow me there and raise your voices to try to raise awareness about this. Now is, and as I posted here, now is the time to get loud and spread this around, folks. Everyone and anyone needs to see this because this is not going to stop, okay? Nobody can be asleep at the wheel for this. At the end of the day, when things are over, when all of this is over, because it will be over at some point, this will serve as evidence as to who gave the orders. Complacency and apathy gets us got, and I stand by that. Complacency and apathy gets us got, folks. It's true. Minutes ago, at my direction, HSI and FBI agents executed the arrest in Minnesota. So far, we have arrested Nakima Levy Armstrong, who allegedly played a key role in organizing and coordinating attacks. A coordinated attack on City Church? No, this was not a coordinated attack on anyone. Protesting ICE is not an attack on anyone. Update, a second arrest has been made at my direction. Chantal, Louisiana has been taken into custody. More to come. We'll protect our house of worship. So, no, she's not doing that. Nope, get me out of here. I'm not clicking on Twitter. Get me out of here. Sorry. She is lying. This is not about protecting the house of worship. This has nothing to do with Christianity or Christians or impeding anyone's freedom of religion at all. Homeland Security Kristi Noem later announced Thursday that William Kelly was arrested and will be charged with conspiracy to deprive rights. Fantastic stuff. As they are depriving people of rights. I'm a Christian. I fully support those protesters. Absolutely outrageous to call it an attack on Christianity. Christianity literally demands us to welcome in immigrants and refugees and not send them away. Yeah, and the thing is, like, what's to add to the cherry on top of this is, like, the people weren't even protesting Christianity. The people were protesting ICE because the guy is a pastor. That's what they were protesting. They weren't protesting or it had nothing to do with Christianity. These people were protesting ICE because the guy is an ICE agent. That's what this whole kerfuffle is about. And this fascist administration is twisting that. This Christo-fascist administration is twisting that and saying that this is an attack on Christians, that this is an attack on you Christian white person, white guy, you know, which is the pastor. And all right, like setting aside all the theological debate, it's one of the few things you really can't argue. It's actually pretty explicitly a through line, actually older than Christianity yourself. Then Christianity really treat the immigrant as you would yourself. Yep. And whatever you do unto them, you do unto me. Thus says the Lord. Also proves I'm moronic. Oh wait, there's another one up here. I'm a Christian. I fully support this. Yes. There are no straight answers online. It seems like getting hit by an anti-anorexic censorship on the search and an anti-anorexic bots spewing relevant gibberish makes me wonder if the efforts to save the children from anorexia might be driving into civil liberties ditch like de-sex and gender. Yep. Also proves how moronic the censorship and fake text generation are, because the search was about finding evidence to present to others about malnutrition from empty calories from too low food budgets. The bots with fake answers are giving safe weight loss advice 100% off topic. Yep. Yeah, like the Quakers did in the 18th century to consider black people as equal human beings. Yeah, they understood. You're becoming the Jesse Ventura of your state. Religion is mostly misogynistic and anti-LGBT hate group these days. Yep. Especially this, whatever this is, 100%. How the F is protesting a form of violent attack, but Mother Effers legit stormed the House of Congress and broke into congressional offices. Yep. It's all muddying the water so they can keep pushing fascism. 100%. These people are not Christians. Their religion is white, so-called supremacy. I'm going to be furious in 10 years when we get the second Nuremberg trials and Kristi Noem and Carolyn Levitt, both innocent white female out of all charges. I would literally crash out if that's what happens. A magistrate on Thursday today ordered the release of both Levi Armstrong and Allen and did not grant requests for detention hearings. The protest happened at City's Church on Summit Avenue on Sunday, as roughly 30 to 40 protesters walked into the church during service around 10:40 a.m. in protest of a pastor at the church who's believed to be a local ICE official. So that's what this is about. 5 Eyewitness News spoke to Levi Armstrong the day after the protest, and she said the goal was to have a dialogue with the church leaders about the impact of ICE. People have been saying we shouldn't protest. They always say there's no time and place or location that is appropriate for using our voices, which is nonsense. Mouselander, welcome. Right, like Officer Ben Dixon, Christians any day of the week, but they seem, from my experience, a rare and rapidly going extinct breed. Yep, yeah, I'm pretty down with the, I'm pretty down with Benjamin Dixon. To some extent, even Cornel West, who has said a lot of things that I agree with. Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. The DOJ announced its intent to investigate the protests, and Noem says Levi Armstrong is being charged with violation of 18 USC 241, the conspiracy against rights section of the Constitution, which makes it a crime for a group to conspire or intimidate anyone exercising rights, in this case practicing a religion. Except that's not what happened. Yeah, I too remember the time Jesus threw the homeless out of a temple. My cousins live in Minneapolis. Jeez, are they like seeing what's happening? Can we get some not first-hand accounts, but second-hand accounts, I guess? Or first-hand accounts, yeah, they'd be on the ground of what's going on. Were they able to tell you what's happening? What occurred was not protest, it was lawless harassment, said the North American Mission Board, which is associated with the church. Others say it was protested protected by free speech, which of course it is. Again, this is not intimidation or anything like that on the basis of religion at all. But they want to make it that way. They're trying to spin that narrative. They want to spin that narrative. I'm genuinely curious. You guys remember an Oprah interviewed Prince and asked him why he lives in Minneapolis? Said it's too cold, it keeps out the bad people. Oof. I can't contact them, they don't answer, and both are brown birthright citizens. I'm really worried. I mean, if you can get some more information, that would be great. Because that's kind of scary. You can send that to me, Nadia. Yeah. Yeah, any URLs get eaten. You sent it to me by Discord. I'll check it out. Come on, Discord. Marin Tannehill has worked for years on one of the largest government defense contractors in the country, writing pseudonymously for the Biolan Times. In November of 24, she predicted the astonishingly rapid militarization of the homeland that Trump would pursue, and again in February. I mean, to be fair, like, yeah, it's kind of, it was written down. She accurately forecasted one of the most shocking turns of the Trump administration, including how serious it is about annexing places like Venezuela and Greenland. Now she casts her eye on what pivotal presidential election will hold in 2028 and warns the Democrats are dangerously unprepared for what's coming. I agree with that. The outcome of the election has already been determined. Democrats just don't realize it yet. Trump's first year in office has largely been an exercise in consolidating power. Yada, yada, yada. The legal coup, the Project 2025. Yeah, this all tracks. This all tracks. Don't believe me? I'll walk you through the process. Hey, I'm back here. One of the biggest hurdles if you're considering is that any Democratic candidate who looks like they might win the election for president will face the possibility of imprisonment or arrest. It's common in authoritarian countries, and Trump, with the implied consent of the Republican Party, has already demonstrated willingness to weaponize the DOJ and FBI against anyone who impedes its power. I mean, this is true. This is true, as we are literally covering a story about how they're doing just that. If a Democratic candidate for president emerges who look like they could easily carry the general election under normal circumstances, Trump or the Republican Party may well take them off the board preemptively. Next, the Democrat must legitimately win the votes necessarily carried to the Electoral College. The Republican Party has the ability to thwart this in myriad ways. In 2020, they leveraged the Postmaster DeJoy to try to reduce mail-in voting. On the day of election, they can use ICE and other federal entities to disrupt access to voting, and they can encourage supporters to call in bomb threats to polling places that produce a lot of Democratic votes. If the Democratic nominee doesn't get the votes, the process stops here and Republicans win. After that, the votes must be accurately counted. To that end, election-denying Republican conspiracy theory Scott Leidenecker has purchased Dominion voting systems and given him control on how the votes are counted in 27 states. You should have zero faith that the new ownership won't mess with the voter tabulation when it's already clear that this is a power-at-all-cost movement. Two possibilities are that Dominion doesn't get caught putting their finger on the scale, and another Republican becomes president. If they do get caught, Trump is still in charge of the DOJ and loyalists, so there'll be no investigations or prosecutions. If they are caught, it would be left to the DOJ and FBI to self-investigate, which would clearly go nowhere. Even if allegations do rise to the level that results in elections are cast to doubt, it would be left to the White House to pick a president, where the rules are again rigged in favor of Republicans via the 12th Amendment, which outlines the rules for contingent elections, and again, we get a Republican, so win-win for Dominion to interfere, and they'll likely be rewarded for their service to the regime, so it presumes it will happen. So what I'm thinking that they're trying to argue is that if Dominion is accused of rigging the election, then Congress gets to pick the president, and Congress is currently being run by the Republicans. That's another sad aspect of all this for me. The American left and the American liberal left are not prepared to fight what's coming. We just don't. I don't know. I want to believe like we have more people. YouTube doesn't like links unless you're a moderator. Yeah. I can't contact them. They don't answer. Oh yeah, they're both brown birthright citizens, and I'm really worried. I hope you do find more information. Yep, it's because that's what they believe off-world colonists. They're people that genuinely support it. The old style left is, the liberal left is not. Yeah, but we need more people. We need the liberal left or whatever, or just anyone who's not a fascist to really understand the situation. At that point, local and state Republicans refused to certify the election results in hopes that kicking the decision to the House of Representatives with Republicans guaranteed to win, based on each state delegation getting one vote and there being more Republican states than Democratic ones. This almost happened in Michigan in 2020, and there's a near certainty that a concerted push by Republicans in the base to pressure state and local officials into refusing to certify the election, and the Dominion's interference might provide a genuine justification for the refusal to certify. This actually is an interesting one. Yeah. And of course, they're arguing that maybe if they can cause enough doubt about the elections, then they can use other shenanigans in place to try to essentially because it's essentially to contest the election. That's right. Look how easily people said Rene Good tried to murder the ICE agent, and they flat out lied saying he had brain damage. Yep. Well, that part might not be a lie, but it wasn't because of Rene Good. The question is more about how much democratic window dressing stays around and how unconvincing it'll be, whether or not it'll be a dictatorship. Then what are we going to do in light of that? When I say we, I mean the people who continue to place all their eggs in electoralism basket. Yeah. I mean, at that point, like, we've got nothing to lose, folks. Elections were rigged in plain sight. Election 2000, no one lifted a finger. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That was for all. That was as rigged as it got. That was as rigged as it got. George Bush wasn't elected. He was selected by the Supreme Court. Yep. You wouldn't have the war on terror with Al Gore? I mean, I don't know, but it would definitely not have been as bad as with, it would not have been as bad, I think, if Gore would have won. Like, I don't know, like, how, what the outcome would be, but I think it would be significantly better. Significantly better. I think 9/11 would have happened, and Gore would have gone to Afghanistan to get Bin Laden, would have been over by 2005. I mean, maybe. Yeah, maybe. That's what I'm saying. It would have been a lot better than not. And maybe we wouldn't have gotten as much as much of a security state, surveillance state apparatus. All that might have been less to a less degree. Whatever, you know what I mean? Like, whatever excuse they would have done. But anyways, yeah, I think that I think that it would have been significantly better. I can't say how much better, what would have been different, but definitely a lot better. I think if Gore is the president, 9/11 never happens. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Maybe. That's the idea. Jessa Ventura had been wavering. It's really hard to say, honestly. I can't tell you. We might have had some kind of climate policy at this point beyond drill, baby, drill. Yep. 9/11 still happens because of blowback, in my opinion. I mean, it's quite possible that I think that would have happened regardless. I think you're right. I think it would have happened regardless. Clinton blowed up the prison industrial complex by a factor of more than 10 and filled those prisons with black men, and no one blinked an eye or said a word. Democrat. Yeah, no, 100% true. I'm going to the point of saying it was an inside job, but I think they had knowledge and just let that happen for political gain. I don't know. Who understands the physics beyond involved in 9/11? I mean, I don't know, the Arkham's Razor, right? Is what I would say. Alright, folks, we got one more story to go, and then we're out of here because I gotta get going. I gotta get one last thing before tomorrow. One last thing. Folks, if you think that people aren't being murdered in these concentration camps, I've got news for you folks, and this is not the first guy, nor will he be the nor will he be the last one. Bush and Cheney were as evil as Netanyahu's being now. Yeah. Well, I don't know who's worse, honestly. They're all war criminals. They're all bloodthirsty war criminals. Humanist Report's video on electoralism is really good. You can post it on the Discord for other folks to watch. We love Humanist Report. We love Humanist Report. We love our Humanist Report. They're closing schools tomorrow here because of the blizzard. Sheesh. It's already on the Discord and was spread to you too. Excellent. I will go over this probably the next time. The next time on Monday. Now stay warm, Ladybug. Another person died now? Yep. How many weeks before mass graves? Yeesh. Autopsy found that Cuban immigrant in ICE custody died of homicide due to asphyxia. So another way of putting it is that they killed him. A Cuban migrant held in solitary confinement, which is torture, at an immigration detention facility in Texas died after guards held him down and he stopped breathing. Or another way of putting it, they killed him. Okay? Another way of putting it is that they killed him. Okay? They didn't just hold him down and he stopped breathing. Okay? They killed him. According to an autopsy report released on Wednesday that ruled the death a homicide. Geraldo Lunas Campos died January 3rd following an altercation with guards. U.S. Immigration Custom Enforcement said the 55-year-old father of four was attempting suicide and the staff tried to save him. Witness told, by the way, like, if you put somebody in solitary confinement, okay, like that is horrible. That is torture, okay? That is torture. A witness told the AP last week that Lunas Campos was handcuffed as at least 5 guards held him down and one put an arm around his neck and squeezed until he was unconscious. So he killed him. so he killed him is what you're saying. It sounds like George Floyd. They just straight up like choked him to death. His death was one of at least 3 reported in little more than a month at Camp East, Montana, a sprawling concentration camp with tent facility in the desert on the grounds of Fort Bliss and Army Base. They're writing about this like when they do when Israel kills Palestinians. Yep, they just held him and he just, stopped breathing, It just happened. The autopsy report by the El Paso County Medical Examiner's Office found that Lunas Campos' body showed signs of a struggle, including abrasions on his chest and knees. He also had hemorrhages on his neck. The deputy medical examiner, Dr. Adam Gonzalez, determined the cause of death was asphyxia due to neck and torso compression. The report said witnesses saw Lunas Campos become unresponsive while being physically restrained by law enforcement. It did not elaborate on what happened during the struggle, but cited evidence of injuries to his neck, head, and torso associated with physical restraint. The report also noticed presence of petechial hemorrhage, tiny blood clots from burst capillaries that can be associated with intense strain or injury in the eyelids and skin of the neck. Dr. Victor Whedon, a forensic pathologist who reviewed the autopsy report for the AP, said the presence of petechia in the eye support the conclusion that asphyxia caused the death. The injuries suggest pressure on the body and often associated with such death, so they choked him to death. They choked him to death. The IDF does a lot of PR and police training with the US. Yeah. But just to be clear, like, I know there's like a lot of people making like the connections and whatnot, but this is as American as apple pie. This is very much American. This is us. This is very much American. The autopsy found the presence of prescription antidepressants and antihistamine medications, adding that Lunas Campos made a history of bipolar disorder and anxiety, and made no mention of him attempting suicide. ICE's initial account of the death, which included no mention of an altercation with guards, said Lunas Campos became disruptive and staff moved him into a cell block where detainees were held away from others. While in segregation, staff observed him in distress and contacted on-site medical personnel for assistance. I mean, like, they killed him and they covered him up and they covered it up. Medical staff responded, initiated life-saving measures, and requested emergency medical services. Lunas Campos was pronounced dead after paramedics arrived. Last Thursday, Lunas Campos' family was informed that the death was likely to be ruled a homicide. Department of Homeland Security spokesperson Trish McLaughlin amended the government's account, saying that he had attempted suicide and the guards tried to help him by killing him. Campos violently resisted security staff and continued to make attempts to take his life. During the ensuing struggle, Campos stopped breathing and lost consciousness. No, he was killed. No, he was killed. After the final autopsy report was released on Wednesday, McLaughlin issued a statement emphasizing that Lunas Campos was a criminal, illegal alien, and convicted child sex predator. Yeah. I think this is just an excuse. Transplanting all neighbors in Brooklyn to Tel Aviv sounds like it would plant those American roots in fresh soil. Keep a card on you, a person saying I wasn't sad, I wasn't depressed. New York records show Lunas Campos was convicted of a 2003 sexual contact with a person of 11, a felony for which he was sentenced to 1 year in jail and placed on the state's sex offender registry. Lunas Campos was also sentenced 5 years and 3 years of supervision after being convicted of attempting to sell a controlled substance. He completed the sentence in January of 2017. ICE takes serious health and safety of all those detained in our custody. No, you don't. You killed them. No, you don't. You killed them. DHS has not responded about whether or not any law enforcement agency was also investigating. It won't be. The AP reported in August the $1.2 billion contract to build and operate Camp East Montana, expected to become the largest concentration camp in the U.S., awarded to a private contractor headquartered in a single-family home in Richmond, Virginia. The company, Acquisition Logistics, had no prior experience running a concentration camp and had subcontracted with other companies to help operate the camp. It was not immediately clear whether the guards present when Lunas Campos was murdered were government employees or those of the private contractor. A final determination of homicide by the medical examiner would typically be critical in determining whether any of the guards would be held criminally or civilly liable. The fact that Lunas Campos died on Army Air Base could limit the state and local officials' jurisdiction to investigate. And I think this is the important part, right? I think that this is the important part here. Those charges are what they're going to use to invalidate the whole case. Yeah, like no doubt about it that like the dude was convicted of a very disgusting thing. That does not excuse your guards murdering him, right? That doesn't excuse murder. And also, this dude's not the first one, and he's not going to be the last. And that right here, the fact that this dude died on the army base, okay, makes it so that the chances of any type of investigation by local authorities much more difficult. And I think that's the point. If they made up those charges, who'd be able to gainsay their blatant fake cover story? I mean, if it was, if it was like false charges or whatever, all of that is irrelevant. All of that is irrelevant. False charges, real charges, it doesn't matter. The point being is that they killed him. And the point being is that not only did they kill him and others too, but they're doing this in a area that has limited jurisdiction because they know, or they're trying to get away with it. I agree, Bella Greasy. Lunas Campos was among the first detainees sent to Camp Montana East, arriving in September after ICE arrested him in Rochester, New York, where he lived for more than 2 decades. He was legally admitted into the U.S. as part of the human immigrants seeking to reach Florida by boat. ICE was said he was picked up in July as part of a planned immigration enforcement operation due to criminal convictions that made him eligible for removal. In addition to Lunas Campos, ICE announced on December 3rd an immigrant from Guatemala held in Camp East died after being transferred to El Paso for hospital for care. The cause of death was still pending, but I suspect they killed him too. On Sunday, ICE announced that Victor Manuel Diaz, a 36-year-old immigrant from Nicaragua, died of a presumed suicide. Yeah, I don't believe that. Unlike with the other 2 prior deaths, Diaz's body wasn't sent to the county medical examiner in El Paso. McLaughlin said on Wednesday that the autopsy for Diaz is being performed at the Army Medical Center for Fort Bliss. DHS again did not respond to questions about whether any agency or other than ICE will investigate the death. Representative Veronica Escobar, a Democrat whose district includes El Paso, called on DHS Secretary Noem and Acting ICE Director Tom Leons to brief Congress about the recent deaths. DHS must preserve all evidence, including halting their effort to deport the witness. I reiterate my call for Camp East, Montana to be shut down and for the contract for the corporation running it to be terminated. Oh, well, thanks, dudes. I'm sure that they'll listen to you. Extrajudicial killings are unlawful. Yep. That's how they learned it from Russia. That's how they do inmates over there. Liver, kidney failure. Yeah, the guy killed himself. Whatever. You know well that the criminal status basically convinces people that no wrong can be done to them. Maybe I didn't say it well. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. They lie about everything else. They could easily be lying about the charges because they know the nonce accusation is so delegitimizing. Yeah. I mean, to me, just to be clear, the charges of which this guy was convicted or whatever is irrelevant. Just to be clear for the folks who are on the right wing, you don't just get to kill people extrajudicially, okay? The idea wasn't that he was falsely charged so much as that they made up the entire criminal record. I mean, who knows? That might be the case. But the point being is that they're killing people in these concentration camps, and they know that by putting it in an army base, that the jurisdiction or whatever is going to make it a lot harder for accountability to be held. And make no mistake about it, these are not the only ones. These are just the folks that we know of. These are just the people that we know of. There was an Epstein photo of Miss Lindsay with a bunch of B-61B nukes on his lap with a little wet spot on his pants. Yeesh. My theory is not that he was convicted of those false charges. My theory is that after they killed him, they made up the story that he'd been convicted of noncery. I mean, quite possibly, you know how these people are. I'm just saying that it's not important to the overall point. That's all. But yeah, these people lie about everything. Remember the White House PR campaign where they had like a bunch of like, I don't even know if they were real undocumented people, but they had like a bunch of undocumented pictures of undocumented people, and like with the most heinous things that you can think of, some of which weren't even crimes. They just sound really bad. And they put that all leading up to the White House, and they made a big PR stunt, and like a lot of that was just like nonsense. I don't even know if those were even real people, to be honest. It could have been just manufactured. So this is not out of the out of the realm for these people. All right, folks, it's time for me to get out of here. It is just shy of 7 o'clock. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate all of you guys being here. Thank you for your support. You guys are what makes this channel go. I appreciate your support. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hassler, for modding the chat. Folks, if you want to support the channel, there are many different ways of doing so. Check out the links there. Please go support this space, and please check out the Discord, folks. That's really important if you want to support the channel directly. Check out the merch store, !tip, do all the things. Whew, I appreciate it, folks. It has been quite the long week, and preparing myself for this weekend. There's a kind of rigor and reasoning that it is relevant to the realities that once the accusation of nonsense flung about, people's brains shut off and they endorse infinite torture. 1000% agree. 1000% agree. I'm getting there. Manufactured consent. Thanks, Ross, for another excellent report. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you, Saris. Thank you again, Michael Hassler and Heat for modding the chat. Thank you, Ladybug. Appreciate you. Jesse James. Folks! Stay safe and warm. Yeah, you too. You're probably getting it worse than I am, by the looks of it. Appreciate it. Yeah, exploding trees and all. Folks, we gotta get out of here. Thank you all, as always. We'll be back on Monday. Hey, folks, listen. If there is some issue where I can't stream on Monday, or Tuesday because of the power, we'll make it work. I'll keep you guys updated. But for right now, we'll just pretend that the streams are gonna go as normal. If something happens where I can't stream on Monday, we'll try to figure it out. If not, then Monday, then I'll make an announcement on the Discord. But in any case, we'll just assume that the stream is gonna be at the normal time. We'll just assume that it's gonna be at the normal time. I really hope we don't lose power. I'm not prepared. I've been preparing. It's yeesh. It's been a mission. All right, folks. I gotta get out of here. Thank you all for being here. Stay safe, stay warm. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one, Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern time. See ya. Alright, folks, we're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.